friends, welcome back to another video. So recently I had a poll in my Writing and Reading Nook Facebook group asking you guys which video you wanted to see next, and this is the one you voted for. Today we're going to be talking about how to proofread your own novel. Now before we dive into my tips, I do have to throw my 2 cents in there on this topic. Yes, I am a professional proofreader, and yes, I am giving away some of my top secrets to help you guys proofread your novels. But what I would like to say about this topic is while I'm helping you proofread your novel, I still think that you should hire a proofreader before you publish your manuscript. I know sometimes budgets can be tight or there's time constraints, but the proofreading process, the very last process before publishing, I think is the most important. It's the last chance for you to catch those tiny little details you missed, the extra space you have somewhere, the wrong use of your versus your, making sure the format is correct, all of those little things. So this is not a step that you want to skip. The reason I say that you want someone else to do this is because even I, as a professional proofreader, and any proofreader will tell you this, you cannot proofread your own work. You're too close to the work, and you know what it's supposed to say, how it's supposed to sound, the flow of everything. So you're going to be a little bit blind to the errors in your novel. That being said, I think proofreading your novel before the critique partner or beta reading process is absolutely essential as well. This is something you want to do before handing your manuscript over to somebody else, because your work should be polished up to a certain point so that people can understand what you're trying to write and convey to them. Even if your critique partners and beta readers know that they're getting a pretty rough draft, something full of errors can still definitely turn them off to the process. I know that I personally have beta read manuscripts where I can ignore a few of the grammatical things or even highlight them for people. I mean, I'm beta reading, I may as well help them out if something's blatantly obvious that needs to be changed. But there have also been manuscripts that I've turned away for beta reading because I couldn't even get through them. I didn't understand what the author was trying to say, and the grammar was just so bad. It was taking 10 times the amount of time it should have for me to get through it. And your beta readers are going to feel the same way. If they can't get through your novel and understand it without all of these grammatical errors in the way, they're not going to want to read it. So whether you need to proofread before handing it over to critique partners, beta readers, or, and I beg of you, please don't proofread on your own before publishing, here are some tips that I know will help your manuscript. Number 1, take a step back from your manuscript. When you come back to your manuscript with fresh eyes, you see the things that you didn't see before. When you're so up close and focused on your novel, you can miss something over and over and over and over again. But if you take a few days, a week, even a month away from your manuscript, when you come back, these errors are going to pop off the page, screaming at you to fix them. Number 2, know your own weaknesses and the most common errors in manuscripts. If you're someone who's constantly confusing your versus your, there, or not sure how to use affect versus effect, brush up on those. Use the find and replace feature and search every single one of these things. You'll also want to look up the most common errors in manuscripts and just go through each of those. This is a quick way for you to find the things that you know that you need to work on, focus solely on those things, and fix them, no problem. Number 3, read your work out loud. I know that this helps me so much with reading my own manuscript. I can read the same thing over and over again, but when I actually read it out loud and what I hear is not the same as what I'm seeing on the page, it jumps out at me and I can fix it right then and there. And to kind of go along with that point is number 4, listen to your story out loud. There's different resources you can use. I personally just use the function on Microsoft Word. To do this, I pick whichever of the little robot voices I think is the best, set it to the speed that works best for me, and then read along with it. If what you're hearing from someone else is not what's on the page, again, these errors are going to jump out at you. Number 5, put your work in a different format. Whether that's a different font size, different margins, if you want to put it onto vellum or some other format. Reading it in a different way gets your mind out of the routine of reading it over and over the same way, and these errors will again jump out at you on the page in a different format. Number 6, utilize resources. These can include spell check, Grammarly, and Pro Writing Aid. But I will warn you, I know many people who only use these resources as the final proofread for their novel. Please, I beg of you, do not do this. These programs are not perfect. I can't tell you how many times I've gone through these programs and they'll suggest a change to me, that's totally wrong. I would say a large portion of what these resources tell you is just not correct. I've had these resources try to make plurals in the wrong area or even try to use the wrong form of your and your. So please do not rely solely on these. Now sure, some of them are going to point out things that you definitely should have seen, like a spelling error somewhere or whatever. But if you don't know how grammar works, these aren't going to be extremely helpful to you. Number 7, slow down. I know it's tempting, especially for you quick readers, to rush through, but you need to find a way to slow yourself down. If you find that you're naturally a really fast reader, something you can do to slow yourself down is to read your story line by line backwards. This takes you out of the storytelling and makes you focus solely on the words that are on the page. Number 8, let someone else proofread for you. Whether it's a professional, which I obviously suggest if you're going to publish, or someone else like your critique partners and beta readers. But again, many of these people are not trained and they can be telling you the wrong things. I know I have had so many critique partners and beta readers who on Google Docs will try to point out the errors that Google Docs says that I need to fix. Google Docs is plain out wrong, and I ignored their suggestion on purpose. But a lot of people don't actually look at what the suggestions are telling them. They're just saying, oh, Google Docs says it's wrong, and tries to tell you to fix it. Again, if these people were going through their own manuscript using these resources, they would be wrong. So make sure you don't blindly take the suggestions of Google Docs or Word or anything. You need to actually look. So the same thing goes for your CPs and beta readers. If they're telling you to fix something, make sure that actually needs to be fixed. And number 9, get familiar with the Chicago Manual of Style. This is the standard style guide that your manuscript probably falls under. Most books need to follow the Chicago Manual of Style guide. It's what I use as a proofreader. The only time I've ever had to use anything else was for like a scientific journal sort of thing. Books use CMOS. So if you're really trying not to hire somebody, you're going to have to get the Chicago Manual of Style. Something that I've found to be really helpful is this small guide for the Chicago Manual of Style. It opens up pretty big, front and back, and the words are very, very small. So there's a lot packed into this. So if the Chicago Manual of Style, which is like this thick, intimidates you, something like this may work a lot better for you. It has some of the most common mistakes on here that you're going to need. For example, punctuation, such as commas, colons, semicolons, hyphens, and dashes. Tricky words such as affect, effect, aid and aid, amid, among, between. So this is a great resource if you're needing to proofread your own novel. If you are going to skip a proofreader altogether, which I really hope you don't do, you are going to need to know the Chicago Manual of Style. Your proofreader should know the Chicago Manual of Style. If you're hiring a proofreader who has never heard of the Chicago Manual of Style, do not hire this proofreader. They have no idea what they're doing. So there you have it, my best tips for you to proofread your own novel. If you found this video helpful, please make sure to give it a like and subscribe. I post videos every Tuesday with the possibility of bonus videos on Fridays. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.